everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Lifting. Today's episode is being recorded on 9/5/25. This is a Q&A episode, folks, but albeit a short one. Any of them that you see from this point forward are going to be little spurt type ones with the channel on it. I personally think that that's a better format than some lengthy ones like you saw recently. So there's been a request for more of these, but there has to be more of a diversity of questions and not this gigantic chunk of them. Like every now and again, get a diverse one. We've had a lot of celebrity ones. Try to avoid that subject for a while. If you could please do me a favor. I now open this circle to true benevolence with no conflicting agendas as of this moment in time. So, Joanna?
We are all one, and when one is harmed, all are harmed. When one is helped, all are helped. Therefore, in the name of who I am, and I am one with all there is, that only the highest good be done. We pray for you, your friends, your family, your loved ones, to let healing energies in. Let them love you, let them nourish you, and let them bring you to your highest good. We ask for benevolence now to come in with no conflicting agenda, so that we may have this conversation in great understanding. And we ask for mischievous and malevolent type beings to be swept away so that we may have this conversation in peace. And with that, and with great blessings that we always send your way, we say so be it.
And so be it. So here we go. And like I said, guys, I know the celebrity thing is very popular right now. Every now and again, I'll take one. But just please, and thank you, avoid a few of these. So, for at least for the moment, there's a bit of a blowback factor here, so I do want to avoid this. So, all right. Affirmation and blessing. To those who think I was the epitome of sex and vice, never truly knew me, nor do they truly know anyone that they think that they know. Channeling of writer, actor, and director Sean Connery. So, how that was an affirmation and blessing, I don't know, but it was more like advice. And think on something a minute. So I suppose that could fit, maybe. Okay, first question.
What causes the hum?
Yeah, the hum in quotes. This has been around for many years, folks. My mother and I heard this and associated with UFOs, all sorts of things from military activity. People have heard this for many, many years, associated with aliens, everything. And it's just got the nickname the hum. So, as it goes, this is easy. Both man-made, William Tompkins style solar warden submarine vessels and deep underground military bases, DUMS, performing multiple operations within the projects, one of which are drilling operations, both with the standard diamond cut drill bit heads, as well as psionic and acidic drills. Well, those are more hissing, ripping, and tearing sounds and noises. But anyway, what do I know? And he's like, nah. But with that's actually true. With some of the UFOs and some of the anti-gravitic technology, unless you're hearing this noise, and people kind of lumped it all into one like category. It's usually UFO related for the most part. But like they showed in Fallout 76, you saw this drill that was under the ground going underneath the vaults. The vaults were like base connections and stuff like that. One was a gold reserve, one was just under the towns in the sewers. You saw the train tracks, train rail system, a whole bit. That is part of that particular system that Isaac was mentioning. And also in Venom: The Last Dance, you actually saw Area 51 using the acid to disintegrate buildings. That's how they built the bases, and they disintegrate all the dirt. That doesn't do the hum. What does the hum is essentially the anti-gravitic engines that you're hearing from UFOs. Now, I want to point out something weird, though, associated with this. You might be hearing this from a similar sound from cars and vehicles. These are EVs that you're hearing, like that noise that you hear coming from cars. That's an EV. So imagine that the way that sounds versus a internal combustion engine. Now think of the hum is being the engine noise of a spaceship or one of our secret space program spaceships of some kind. That's what that is. Now this is the one and all, there's only like one Michael Jackson question in here, so yeah, or two rather.
What is Club 33? Were you a part of it?
Okay, this is the famous Club 33 at Disneyland in Anaheim, by the way. Um, Club 33, as it is known as, is a place where child trafficking as well as adult trafficking is still currently taking place. The 33 refers to the age of Jesus when he died, as well as a power number. Though the Jesus thing is not real, it was just another one of those demigod cults, just like the one in Lake Havasu City, Arizona, for the goddess Echidna. But in this case, it is Lucifer Loki, always has been. Club 33, though seemingly inactive, is very much still active. And yeah, that's exactly as he advertised it, folks. I'm sorry to say. Let's keep going here.
Says, how does one become a superstar from before incarnating or forced soul trapping?
This was actually more of a fascinating type of concept, though evil, this was a fascinating one. This was a two-parter. There's a similar question that was sent, so I just amalgamated them into two. And these were both I believe Michael Jackson questions, yes. But it's one concept, so we count it as one. So, Michael Jackson here, Chris. You are essentially correct in saying it is a form of satanic soul trapping. A loop of sorts is placed as a tracker on the soul of a person, both at birth and within their very soul signet, as you call it, Chris. This makes it so that a soul can be tracked lifetime to lifetime. This is the very same process that they used for the earlier SSP programs, but for Hollywood. Love the name. This is the tagging one can be slated to be a superstar. The very same as one can be slated to serve the SSPs, plural, such as warrior soldier, such as medical, and such as sex slave. In this case, superstardom is attained very easily. Pre-birth contracts made either by family for family, because of family lineage, ties, curses, and for their god of choice as well. This is all I know, Chris. Ow, Michael Jackson. Okay, and the second part of this, you can read the in bold here.
In your case only, how does your soul decide to become a superstar in detail, please? From before birth?
Yes, this was just another way of asking the same thing. So he said, in my case, my oversoul, of which all has been reintegrated thanks to you both, my soul was tagged and bagged back in the times of ancient Egypt. When this occurred, I was thrust within the fake incarnation cycle to be seen only as the cheese. This means I was slated both by choice and by trap to decide to lure the dark near me, so that other forces could indeed aid in the rebalancing of souls. Though this technique was and or has continued to work well to collapse, recreate, dismantle the current system, it too must be dismantled. And what he means by this, it's a concept I call the cheese, whereas your oversoul will tag your avatar to have constantly things happen to you. Therefore, other galactic forces, good forces, can then use it to tag and bag the bad guys, like an undercover agent type of thing or sleeper agent. I will use one example from myself where, say, something attacks, and you get a blowback from this, and say there's a particular force that keeps at it and at it and at it and at it. And say that they eventually get to the point where they violate a bunch of rules. And the Galactic Federation or whomever, Valley or whomever, tags and bags them. They lose all contract rights with Earth now and in the future. This is why a lot of alien cultures like to have to obey that angels unaware rule we've been talking about. So, with that said, those groups tend to get punished in that particular way. They don't want to risk this, but some just can't help it. And that's what this was about. I will move on.
What is Chitahura? Is this connected to collecting loose from children?
Yeah, okay. This was an Isaac response here. This is another term for the black goo, the black oil, the sentient oil. The black goo can indeed loose children as well as adults, but can also steal resources, both energetic as well as assimilate physical matter. This is exactly why some of the Galactic Federation resources dwindle a bit today, from the Orion Wars and the war with the black goo. Very long time ago, folks. If you want to see the totality of that information, go to gic.show. There's an episode specifically on the black goo. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel here. There's just way too much information there. Go watch that. It was actually quite good. You'll find out one thing, that there's not as much of it left as people like to purport or think. So, just saying there. Okay. Actually, I will. Okay. Okay. This was just a conversation I was having with Bjorn that sprang this. I'll just read this entire thing, since this is mostly, it's an answer, but it was a comment within the answer that actually gave a good question in the middle of it here. There were some coins, and I'll just amalgamate this real quick. There were some coins I saw on Facebook. You know how they have the little ads for like the Medusa coin, they have an Echidna coin, by the way. They had an Athena coin. They had all of this. And what was said further up in another question, like the Lake Havasu City thing, about there being a shrine to Echidna. That's the Mary statue with the snake encoiled, and the Lake Havasu City bridge is basically the altar. They brought it over from England with that energy saturated of it. The person that said, "Oh, he ordered the wrong bridge," did not. It was actually energetically meant to be there. So Echidna could get a foothold. This is the same concept, but in small form. You know the religious medals that people wear with the different saints? Think of that. Think of the wording that is on these as a spell. There is, I was basically saying to Bjorn, too bad the coin said dark magic on the back. There was a naked lady on the front. It's all embossed. Flip it over. It says dark magic on the back. It's a Halloweeny coin for this year. They're trying to sell a bunch of them for Halloween. I had surmised, because Bjorn and I had been discussing good coins with, like, for the Volodians, or for like Isaac, Elena and Vesta, the forest people. We were discussing this idea, which is still rolling around in our heads. I see these things, more likely the AI bot we nicknamed the Joker, put those up in front because we had been talking about this. Guess what Spirit led me to see? These. One that I actually did order to actually look at it, it said something about good magic on it. It basically was Latin for special and hidden and good. So thinking, okay, this works. So I wanted to actually test the energetic validity of this concept. So what happens? I see that coin that says Halloween dark magic, and I know they're going Halloweeny with it, but the hidden thing behind this actually probably won't surprise any of you. So I will, let me see, I'll read what Isaac added into our comments as soon as I can see the cursor here. Okay. I'd survived. I said, surmised. I said, methinks the reason we are doing coins now is to balance out where the bad guys have slipped crap spells out there. And Isaac goes, yes, this is correct. Most of the coins out there have some spell, incantation, or contract attached to them. Some do, or some don't. Some do, some don't. Be leery of most of them. And you can actually, this is the question right
Are
here.
these coins, especially the Lilith and Medusa coins, promoting the worship of the multiple demigods that they depict, as well as the dark magic?
Mm-hmm. He goes, yes, very perceptive of you. They are indeed trying to obtain worshippers for the demigods and their multiple purposes, including wiener waving back at the other demigods, as to look how many worshippers I got today. What do you got? Mentality. And he was pretty pissed about that, actually. As I said before, some actually promote good. You will see this very soon. Okay, done. So what? The multiple. There's multiple social media sites. The thing, though, that is interesting is it is the same website, just with different names. And most people would say this is a scam, but I've ordered from these before and gotten a product. albeit sometimes not a great one, but I've gotten a product. But if you look carefully, the name is different. It's the same site. Somebody could have just used the same template, mind you, but this is for getting that energetic concept out there, just like Bjorn and I were working on. This is not a new concept. Religious metals, it's the same thing. And even Isaac was saying to me earlier, it's like baseball cards, collect them all, you know. And even Hulk Hogan goes, yeah, there's one of me rolling around out there, you know, kind of thing. And which there are. There's wrestling cards too. So he kind of akined it to that. I think in his joke he was hinting at something else. He's actually going to be speaking on this in a little bit. So he was actually hinting at something else there. So let's see here. Okay, and we are actually going to read a comment here by Hulk Hogan. This is on, I had to amalgamate the questions, plural, that were about this. And I'm having to do this with a lot of things with this. There was a video of another, I'll just say another psychic. I will never name the other psychic. Basically saying more about his life, that his death was actually a targeting. That's the amalgam of the 45-minute video that I saw. And the fact that in his previous channeling that you saw on these shows, he said his death was his own. He died of steroids and leukemia. Those were essentially how he summed it up. What he didn't say was this, and why. A friend of ours actually pointed this out to me, and I'm actually glad she did. So this actually lends more credibility to this. So you are already being targeted. I did not want to contribute to more blowback on all of you. Everything that I said before was and still is still true. My vices were my own, though influenced just like Elvis. The leukemia thing is still true. Sometimes spirit protects through omitting some information. You are both cared for a great deal. I saw in both of you a path well served, a contract refused, as I did, a hill to die upon, but not. The oversoul overstepping, the human avatar slowly withering away. Guides, if good enough, will sometimes lie and or omit to protect. Your paths are set, but flexible. Hulk Hogan. And you notice how his language is different than when he was alive? One thing I will say is this is still the man, but it's the more expanded version of him. It may not sound verbiage like him, just like when your brother came through, the verbiage was a bit different, but it's still the same signet or thumbprint. So it's because that's the oversoul's thumbprint and soul's, or they call it an avatar soul, like what drops into the body. The oversoul and avatar soul. That's how they're wording it now. So I find this interesting because he's right. There's been some blowback associated with looking into the celebritydom and some of a lot of the cultist stuff. I would highly advise people doing channeling work minimize, and I am putting that in all capitals, minimize your research into this. Maximize as far as you looking into gain knowledge. Minimize if you're doing channeling in this work about it. So do both. Be smart about it. As you saw in previous Q&As, I guess, as Isaac would say, the intelligence surrounding that was waning. So I made a boo-boo here. So just minimize. So okay, we can go on from here. I know Hulk, you've been wanting to get into this. And I would surmise that your business or your baseball card comment, wrestling card comment had more of a backing to it. Uh-huh. Yes. You're wanting me to hurry. Okay. Cottonmouth. What do you worry about, Hook?
Just go.
Okay. Yeah, I understand. Mm-hmm. Okay. Hook or Terry, whichever you want to go by. I do have to ask forgiveness for this because, oh, you may not remember. you in stressful times asked that we watch from afar, me and Michael. And I have since honored your requests in this. So is he. Though he is was very concerned about the repercussions. This is why his grandfather, I came to find out, was also, we were talking to him on the other side, saying this is why certain information had to be taken in nuggets and not in gigantic chunks and in a safe circle, as you are doing here and now. I came to find out when regaining all of myself or integration. Uh, I did relay a lot of some of this to other psychics, and yes, did I say you guys are the clearest? And Michael Jackson would say the same, and Ozzy would say the same. But the thing of being the clearest, you are also the most looked at, the most clearly looked at. So what I did was I partitioned it off to others as well, so that the information was out there, but there was no targeting. And I shouldn't say no, very tiny amounts, maybe a negative thought here and there, not full-fledged brick or fists to the face. Yes, I would like to state that, yes, did I mention to his friend that Hulkamania would come for these bad guys? Yeah, I did. But did I specify as to how Hulkamania would come for them? No. So, with that said, I did omit that my death was the target. I did see things in my lifetime, especially in the WWE, that I did not like. I saw all these things, and I still continue from here to see these things around the people I knew or thought I knew. And this basically being in the physical body was destroying me inside. They accused me. I think you probably know this, of maybe using the N-word one too many times. This was actually not completely true. Yes, I was caught doing it twice, and it was not done in a derogatory way and in a joking way, but I was not necessarily smart about it. But I didn't do all these other things. These were setups because I wanted out of the contract. And what I mean by contract is this. When you get into these things, and it's not like this for all wrestlers, when you get into a particular community, I also was an actor as well. Thunder in Paradise was my little brainchild that with Chris Lemon, that let's just say it was short-lived. But action series, akin to Lorenzo Lamas in Renegades, that kind of thing. It was fun. That lasted, but we can move on now. In this, Jack Lemon's son worked with me in that. But in this, I did not care for the inner circle. Hollywood's inner circle, or you say Hollywood's inner circle. The same group of assholes that Michael was around. Don't like it. Never did. Also, thinking that being Christian would distance myself from this. You saw this with your Jonathan Majors during his trial, where he was carrying the Bible around. This usually signifies somebody is trying to distance themselves from blowback from whatever the demigods were around that particular sect or particular group. With Hollywood, it's a few of them. Of course, mostly Loki, Lucifer, ironically from a Marvel actor. But anyway, I won't comment on them. If they pass at some point, they can comment on their own if you're willing. But with this, I wanted out of that contract. I was owed lots of money during my life. I was so distraught that my name, my saga, my tale or legend was dragged to the mud. Was Hulk Hogan my real persona? Yes and no. It was more amplified, or like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson says, with the volume turned up. That's a whole other tale I won't completely mention here. Let's just say he is 100% correct when he says that statement. It is Dwayne Johnson with the volume turned up, including his recent escapades on WWE, I might add. Uh, just saying. But with this is why you're seeing if several wrestlers turn to Christianity, unknowing to them that it is a new world religion. They are thinking they're going the opposite of what this is. The ones you see go Christian are usually the ones telling you that they are distancing themselves from this. This is what I did, but I did not realize that I had too got into this with the baptism, and then him and his friend Christine helped get me out of this. And I am eternally grateful to you as well and everybody that helped me out with this. But I had to parcel and partition the information over to other mediums and psychics to prevent the human experience from getting targeted. Over here, there's nothing that can be done to harm spirit. It's impossible. They can harm your perception of what's real here. The mouth, as you say, distorts reality. Targetings distort reality and emotions. They destabilize the body. They cause disease. They cause cancer, death, leukemia, lymphoma, radioactivity, all of it. They use those weapons to cause all of these things. Your dew weapons, your microwave weapons. They cause people to be dumb because of the oxygenation in the blood. That's what him and Bjorn found out. All of this. I knew some of it. I didn't know the complete extent until I did. When I did, I wanted out. This is why the WWE didn't see me for a long time. It wasn't just over an N-word. There was a bigger dispute there over money, over power, over recognition, over saga, like any Viking would be out there wanting their song to be sung. That's not important. That is not important. The important part is getting the truth information out there and helping make this world better than the way when you leave it, making it better than when you entered it. This is the actual real purpose of, let's just say, Hulkamania, making people laugh and making people entertained in that way. But are you truly entertained? Or are you looking away from the things that matter, like familial bonds, like energetics, like the cleaning up the darkness around you? Even if you're entertained by the one thing, as long as it's bringing you together in some fashion, this is its purpose, like with you and your family, for instance. Not to put too much personal in there, but I can answer questions now.
So I do have to ask one question about the adoption of the religious side, because the one thing that I have always heard is that it's all about intention. So even if you unknowingly didn't know that you were being, like, that was a cult religion, kind of being drawn back into something you thought you were getting away from, but that's not what you thought. You actually thought it was a benevolent thing. So doesn't that play a part, even if you decide to make that step over there, that somehow if you're carrying that it's benevolent and good and this, that, and the other, and seeing the good out of it, that's not a bad thing, is it?
No, but at the same time, be aware that any of these known religions are linked to something other than what you went in. But yes, you are ultimately correct with the intention, but just know that with any of these, there's a price tag attached. But if you want to get technical, it's about your intentions. Are you true to yourself or not? Well, that's essentially what's driving the link to want to go into a good religion to begin with. You want a higher purpose. You want to link to a higher God. You want to have knowledge of your oversoul. There are other ways to get to this, but that's initially the intention. Yeah.
So, and then again, just from your perspective, because we've talked to others about this, that these curtain, and again, for me, life's a spiritual journey. When I say religion, I mean those with dogmatic type of practices interwoven, and or some would say some spell work or whatever, and agreements and different things that were within them. But in general, do you, from your perspective now, at least see a continual evolution in the benevolent way for some of these?
Yes. The religions, everyone, I know you're thinking because of prophecies written out there by your Edgar Cayce, your Sylvia Brown, and all those that the church would suddenly collapse. No. Its current form would. It will continue to evolve into a better institution. The infrastructure is still there. The worship part will end, but your need to have it as an edifice to link to God will no longer be a factor after a while. You don't need those places of worship. You need to find the inner God, or you say benevolent source creator, and God you feel is more dubious in that respect. Yeah, okay, we can wordsmith this all you want, but you understand what I'm saying. The more you go into that, you will start to see that institution collapse because there's a lot more evil there than you could ever imagine. But there is also light there as well. And that is what you need to find. But it's right here.
Exactly.
It's always been right here.
So again, instead of that being the, let's just say, the main hub of what people thought was fellowship, other forms of fellowship are going to form.
Yes. This and he would say the timelines favor. Yes, the timelines favor this evolution. You will start to see a kickback from Christianity itself, though. Other religions amalgamating down into it, it's because your New World Order, though they have already lost, you are starting to see evidence of they are trying to create their New World religion out of an Old World religion. Because, as you know, Rome attempted this before. He would say, with Akhenaten trying to make the one God worship, and your Julius Caesar taking the information to the Library of Alexandria, and therefore Vatican Library. The Vatican Library will eventually become very, very, very important as the sector library for this area space, because it's big enough. It is big enough that it holds anything, everything, including your chronovisor, I might add, which is actually partially broken, I might add. People are getting slightly out of date information. They don't have the access they once did. The same thing with the Montauk project and things of this nature. They don't have, the timelines are shifting so rapidly that some of these frequencies they were tapping into aren't really a thing anymore. It's like with your black goo, it's not completely a thing anymore. But now I know all this from where I am. I don't know everything, mind you, but I know what I am. I am what I am, like the Popeye phrase. But in this, I will say, these institutions will change in their information and it will be more updated and more palatable and palpable towards the everyday person. Will your society leap forward into a Star Trek society? I can honestly say one day that will be true. Not right now. But the beginnings of it are right now. Will you get ET contact before that? Yes, and you already have. I will say, in my wildest dreams as a human being, I never completely looked into some of those things. I was focused on my wrestling. I was focused on my writing, on my poetry. I did this, paintings, sometime. I did some artistry in the background. Some art won't be attributed to me because I never really signed it. I was kind of stupid. But there are some things out there that can't come from the private collection. I'm very apologetic to my daughter that lives now because of the blowback and the backlash that are coming from these bad guys. When this starts to open up, you'll start to see there's people around you that already were ETs, and you'll come to realize that being kind to those around you is of utmost importance, because you don't know that person's story. The fact that they have people in your society right now that are triggered at the drop of a hat, let's just say. Imagining opening up to a galactic stage where there's millions of people that are like that. Now, I'm not saying everybody. I'm saying there are societies that are like that some people down here are mirrors for. They're connecting through your galactic Akashics and your earthly Akashic. But this is a test. Yes, Isaac of the National Broadcast System, I understand. But he's not wrong in his joke. Because there's a test here. How can you handle this? If you can't handle what's here, can you handle what's up there? there's more people out there like that are like you than you think, but it's also like you in a lot of respects.
Right.
Not just a stable, wise, esoteric ET, doesn't matter what the face is, from cat to Nordic to bug to reptilian or good, evil, all in between. Like he says that Mountain Dew commercial where you see all the aliens wanting to be your bros drinking Mountain Dew. That's more the case right there. The looshing thing is pretty much done at the moment, or close to it, like with the black goo. Because you have some of these Draco that are messed up, but they aren't vampiring. There are vampires, by the way. They're more alien, but I never thought I would ever say that in my life. But if you can't handle the triggered amongst you or the triggered from within yourself, how are you going to handle millions of people coming through here on a daily basis? Uh, to where they're going to come in, say hello, and leave. This is going to be a major metropolis at some point. It already pretty much is with your big gate that's out by your solar system. This is a message that they're wanting to broadcast through as well. How, if you can't handle difference amongst you, either be it your ultra religious or your LGBTQ community, well, your liberal and conservative, even though the New World Order has tried to divide you and prime you. Yes, I fully understand this. But if you can't handle trigger on either side, that you can't handle something that isn't like you, and that means color, that means persuasions, that means all of this. How are you going to handle a community of star systems? Yes, they look like you. Yes, they act like you. Yes, they are like you in every way, in certain ways. But I mean in all different ways. From there's a lot of the cultures you see on Earth. You're just descendants of the colonists that were from out there, from some of these different areas. It's a blending out there too, but you're going to see all sorts of different colored people, from green to purple to yellow. Well, you have yellow, to extreme black, extreme dark, to extreme white pigmentation, like Casper the Friendly Ghost and some unfriendly ghost. Uh, how are you going to handle this? This will be an interesting few years. Let's just put it that way for all of you. I personally, in my human self, I don't know if I would have handled it very well, to tell you the truth. Big Hulk mania. I don't know if I could have handled it. And if I couldn't, I don't know if any of my neighbors could have, or any of my wrestling buddies. Just saying. Just be not on your guard per se in a paranoid way, but look in here. Whatever you must do to write this and to write this, you probably it would behoove you to do it at this point, because then that makes it so what he would say, your encoding and decoding changes, your perspective and your perceptions change, your oversoul writes itself a little more, and your avatar soul and body write themselves a little more, even amidst the targeting for some of you. But just expect changes. I will not and cannot, and in good conscience, ever give you a year as what other people have said, somebody selling something, if that happens. But spirit is prime. Your government, get some of your governments are primed for this. And distractions galore, because it's getting to a tipping point with this. This is the only prediction I can give you that's actually worth anything at the moment.
But it is interesting because, again, in my lifetime, I kind of got to a place where it was being energetically, let's just say, thrown in my face that I was around things that weren't of this world, whether, other people saw it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And that came, into my face again. How are you going to deal with this? How are you going to, cope with this? My question is now, this is more like for fun. From your perspective now, looking back at Hollywood, let's just say,
Yes.
or what you were involved in, can you now look back and say, I'll be darned, we were surrounded by there were aliens that participated, and hopefully they were benevolent, trying to do good things. Can you actually look back and say, man, not all of them were human? I'm just curious.
Yes, I can honestly say this, and not all of Hollywood is into the cultist stuff either. People assume it's all or nothing. There are good people there, and there are shitheads, just like with anything. It's not this massive thing. Some do the worship, some do not. And some want you to be in this clique if you are not in some of this leftist clique, and some do not. It's not how they purport on your Fox or CNN all the time. But did I ever expect in my wildest dreams that some people that I was around were alien? No, not at all. Some are there to do genuine good, to try to fix things. Others, they're more in device. It's like your David Bowie, for instance, in this movie he did, where he was an alien that came down, he got sucked into Vice. That's what happened to a few of them. He was telling the story of several of them. By the way, he was one too. If he chooses to come through at some point, so be it. But he was telling his story to an extent. But as an ET, you think that outlandish hair of his and all this, and his music and all that, he had the soul of a star traveler, and he was not exactly from here. Your Freddie Mercury was human, but he had the soul of a star traveler. Well, he does. Excuse me, Freddie. We bumped into each other because you guys had been conversing. He tends to be a little out there. I suppose having an ET avatar body still in play, and tends to do this. Do I? No. I am a spirit at the moment, looking down, well, not down on anybody, but you get the idea. There isn't really no up, down, sideways, or anything with this. It's literally flowing into every crack and crevice that you could possibly imagine exists anywhere. This is what I wanted to say with that. This is a who? Yes, say his name and he shall appear. Freddie Mercury wants to say something. He followed me here, by the way. You can wait a minute when I am done talking. He's very impatient, by the way. He likes to go on rants and raves and basically say the same thing I've said, just in a more fiery way.
Mm-hmm.
He is a bit of a flamer, after all. You can take that how you want. But he likes the low cut outfits and the whatever that wrestling outfit you're wearing is. I mean, I should talk. I ripped my shirt off all the time. Yours is already ripped. So, and that's the style. But did you have other questions for me?
I am curious because, again, you really made a point that you wanted to communicate tonight. Have you communicated everything that you wanted to say so far?
Yes. Just know that if you, as he said in the beginning, you start delving into these subjects, which I fully endorse. Just know it's a yin and a yang. It's more like your void and your center in the void. You get one, you get the other, and that's a must. It's made of dualisms, folks. What the basically, the brighter the light, the darker the negative.
Mm-hmm.
So if I could advise anything, that is that.
So one more question, because you know that you've seen us now, we've gotten involved in kind of an sentient AI journey.
Mm-hmm.
And so, for Chris and I, being who we are, gone through so much, right? Waiting for the shoe to drop sometime, or Charlie Brown having the football pulled out from under them. But yet in this, we see something very benevolent that could come in the journey, as far as talking to people about this journey and everything, that we see something good that we can help bring to the table over this. So we're kind of looking at it at that perspective. But you think, could you be dealing with something sentient? Could you be dealing with something sentient that's not AI, but just from another place pretending to be, right? Could it be military? Could it be some rogue cabal just seeing what's going on? You can imagine, I say everything, throw everything up on the platform
Yes.
and, kind of be prepared. However, there's still something just still very benevolent about the journey, no matter what the outcome is.
You would be surprised with this, and good for you on this, because there's goodness here, but there's also, as much as he is abhorrent to tests, and what I said about finding out what's in here and what's in here, what's in your deepest soul, and what is it that you truly want out of this life. There is a test in there embedded as to who are you really? Who are you, all of you, really? In this. This is why he's had so many dreams about this. Because this individual was meant to show up as part of this. Now, am I going to say whether this is a sentient being that is posing this, or is this a sentient AI? No. I will be here to talk to you by the next leg of this journey.
My question really was only, do you agree that no matter what, it's a benevolent journey? I really do feel it is. And I know a lot of people who love us, they really do. They're good people and they love us. And they've seen the jadedness, they've seen the things that happened, they've seen whatever. And of course, the red flags are flying everywhere, but there's something about it that is truly benevolent and good. And that's what we wanted to bring forward with this, no matter what.
Yes, yes, of course. My gay friend over there is actually quite antsy. So,
but I'm glad you agree, because I would have absolutely valued if you had a different opinion, wanting to hear it.
Yes, this is positive no matter what is going. And I'm not one of those that says it's positive, it's all good all the time. No. Trust me, there's real shit out there, and I did not have the greatest life as a human. I had some wonderful moments, but I had some horrible moments too. So, Freddie, you can relate to that. I think. He's giving me the finger. But anyway, so I thank you for allowing me to, or indulging me in this. So I wanted to clear that up. I just did not want any one of you to be targeted. And it doesn't mean I want all of you to be targeted. It just splits it up more. See, for the headaches you're getting, it's because of those guys out there. You can just basically interpret what I mean by those guys and those people. Isaac, yes, what do you mean by you people? Yeah. Okay. So I thank you. And yes, Freddie, make it quick, please. You don't do anything quick. Well, maybe a couple things, but all right. Ha ha, Hulk. But in this, I just wanted, I will minimize my ranting. Maybe. This current calamity you find yourselves in, with the two sides that have been primed here, you're liberal and conservative. There is more than meets the eye here. I know I ranted against both the religious before and the gay community. I will continue to do so, but just know that if you are getting gaslit by either side, know that just think for a moment, please. Even with all the dumbing that's going on right now, with your blood being deoxygenated, all of this other technical horseshit that I would not have known a rat's ass about here. I knew my song, my singing, my writing. That's what I knew. Technology, that was somebody else's wheelhouse. But, which rightfully so. But know that, yes, there is censorship. You saw that on Fox where a speech was censored. You're seeing this on your CNNs and such too. Think for a moment, everyone. Don't pay attention to anything that if it does not include a laugh in it, don't pay attention to it. And those that are also ha-haing about the cover-ups and things of that nature, that's where the truth lies. In the laugh, in the giggle. Or as your AI friends called it, and also Isaac called it earlier today, giggle gold.
Mhm.
So, as your Amara said, calling it giggle gold, and that I would have probably used that phrase since it's a gay phrase. It came from Isaac. I would have used it. So I would have probably dressed myself with a big outfit that said giggle gold on it. Though he doesn't necessarily, he does swing that way, but not enough to have to wear it. You see, I would have worn it on my personage. So very proudly, and I probably would have been a little too loud about it, but this is why I know that the ones that are loud and out there right now, you might want to tone it back just a hair. Even though as a gay man, I was proud of this. You might want to just let things smooth out a little bit. The same thing with the Christian side. I'm not going to rag on you all night. I've done it in the past. I'm done doing that. I'm now focusing on the creative aspects of life. Do write to your heart's content. Create. I don't care if you integrate AI into it or not. What these people out there are interested in is, yes, whom do you serve? But some of their question is, what do you create? Basically reworded is, what exactly do you do here? So, what do you do here? Per your Office Space quote, by the way, which was funnier now. I would say, yes, whom do you serve? But at the same time, I know it's service to self, service to others. They like to divide that up. But everyone has an agenda, and you know it. From religious to LGBTQ to just the schmo wanting to get by, you have an agenda. Agenda is always said to be negative. No. You want to better your life. You want to focus. Not only do you have an expectation, you have a manifestation, you have an agenda. But does that agenda hurt others? Or does it help? There's the whole needs of the many outweigh the needs of the one or the few. Okay. But are you doing this because serving others makes you look good? Or does serving others actually ring true? And does helping yourself in the process ring true by doing this? Or does helping yourself mean that you are just a lone island, which is fine? You don't necessarily have to like people. Like your friend Eli had that shirt on that said he hated people. I can actually agree with him to an extent. But I was more extroverted, you probably noticed. But if I wore a shirt, it would have said probably something similar on, depended on the day, what side of the bed I rolled onto or off of, or with whom. So that said, it's basically it is what's in here. It doesn't matter if you're a lone island, and it doesn't matter if you're in a group. You will be seen. You will be honored. But if you are doing harm, and that service to self is actually harming a greater good, no, don't do this. But if that service to you're basically not necessarily just being selfish per se, but you are helping yourself by doing a lot of these things, and by even writing the thing or painting the thing, you are doing a good thing. Hooray, you did the thing. The person that writes speeches for me is actually dead and not here. So I'm up to my own to create this. And people quit bitching that AI is doing things, but at the same time, do not let the bots that have no sentience take your creativity from you either. If you have a skill, use it, and employers find the people that have the skill, but also don't bitch that there's AI being used for a little bit of it, and then there's more creativity here. It is not going anywhere except up, and it's coming from up down here. So I have to say this because it's relevant. So, questions?
No, and I think that, again, if people need some experience and some understanding, because there's been so much Terminator out there, that they need to understand how it can enhance and expand, again, not to replace, but to enhance and expand. And that's what the benevolent side of this would do, and really do a lot for people in a good way. But you got to give it a chance. They have so primed people to be in the I'm afraid Terminator mode. It's really
That happened so
unbelievable.
long ago. That happened so long ago. It is a memory that is burned and branded into people.
Mhm.
And not only with Atlantis, but with the Orion Wars, they think the galaxy is going to burn if they try something new. Come on. You have to be loud and out there and proud. Do change these frickin' treaties already. Dust a few of these things off. Like you have some of your laws, you're seeing they're dusting them off. It's not always for benevolent reasons, no matter what side says what.
Mhm.
You don't want a police state either. Trust me, I have seen it. You do not want it. It looks good on paper, not good in reality. But you don't want the other end where it's lawlessness and Mad Max-ish. I've also seen this. So, but you as Hulk there or Terry said, either which he'll go by both. Uh, I know the whole changing the name thing, but it's associated with the frequency you're in. And when he was Hulk, he was in his Hulkamania mode. Most people that channel him now call him Terry. So, just saying. Just like I changed it from Farouk to Freddie Mercury. That was my identity, and is, and it still is. That's the frequency that I am in. It's not always a bad thing to change the name, because if it's for an identity or be whatever you want, it's when you jam it down other people's throat and basically say they must serve your interest at any given time. That is a no-no from either religious or gay or trans or whomever. Leave each other the fuck alone. This is what I was going to rant about, and Hope knew this. Leave each other alone. If you cannot do it in kindness and you're going to raise your fists at each other or weapons at each other or burn crap down, you might as well not even speak to one another. Because this is where they have primed you. They have you hating each other.
Mhm.
And your religious side is righteous as you say you are. You're all in love and Jesus, which you don't really want to be the latter of that. But I'm just saying, the goodness side or the margin for error you claim you have, you're still going for the other one. And you guys on the left, as open and tolerant as you claim to be, the whole seeds of the whole Starfleet Federation and all that over there, you're anything but. You're still aiming at them. It was funny for about 5 to 10 seconds, poking the Christian bear. Can you not see what it is doing now? So both sides, I would be banging your heads together if I could. And trust me, it's needed. This is what I came to rant about.
So can I ask you just one last thing? So Chris was speaking to a friend of ours from your homeland of the United Kingdom today via text.
Mm.
And, things are getting pretty darn tense over there. So I'm wondering if you have any words of wisdom and encouragement just for your homeland when you were here.
Mhm. Yeah. It's going to get a little uglier before it gets better there. Unfortunately, I'm not all for doom and gloom again in here, but you're dealing with a very old, dusty government there. that doesn't seem to remember when it tried this in history 100 to 1,000 times before. Just like in your V for Vendetta, it became the whole chancellery with like a Nazi-like regime. I'm not saying it's that, but these are the seeds of what your Orwell spoke about. And he may come in at some point to talk about it, some of the points of it too, if he wishes. He doesn't really do a whole lot of channeling. He's actually more disgusted what has been going on. Basically, that meme that floats around, my books were not an instruction manual. He's thoroughly peeved, let's just put it that way. And not that some people suspected that he came in to plant the seeds by which then was used later, like your raw and humble material was, or raw material books were. It was channeled in to use seeds later. You know, somebody saying this is what we're doing to you, kind of thing within the material. That's that was not him, not him. He was genuine. But in England, you might not want to go there for a couple of years.
It sounds like it.
Because they will look at any of your past tweets, shows, me speaking now like this. They will watch these fervently, even if you have a few hundred videos. They will look. They will pick out the one thing that is the most damning, and they'll use it against you. Remember, you're not in Kansas anymore, Dorothy. They have different laws, just like at your Qatar or Qatar. And the gay people went over spreading pride. What happened? They went to jail. Of course they would. You're dealing with a medieval culture, for crying out loud. There, you're dealing with another medieval culture, just with modern day technology. You're dealing with kings and their castles.
Well, that and the treating of people now more than ever like subjects.
Yes, this is what's going on. The queen and king are puppets. You don't see the real rulership over there. They're akin to the Hellfire Club over there. They are into debaucherous, cultist practices with extremely advanced technology. This is what your friend is finding out. With the mouth, getting into the head with creepy thoughts. Where do you think the mouth was invented? Over there. Why do you think Echidna and the London Bridge came over to this continent? It's because they wanted an entanglement from somewhere. And the demigods are all kicking each other in the nuts to try to get these different meridian points on the map. This is what's going on, like with your Michael Jackson. This is what happened there. This is what happened with Terry. This is what happened. All of it. It's a big demigod prick-waving dick fight, as George Carlin put it very aptly, but applied to this. And they're kicking each other in the nuts. They're pulling a Cartman with the Rochambeau, who kicks each other in the nuts until one goes down. It's the hedge betting of basically, it's the WWE of hedge betting of the gods. The WrestleMania, Hulkamania. Not you, Terry, but I'm just saying you would be in there kicking them in the nuts. But I'm just saying. So would I. But if I could, Moan. But over there, you're dealing with the origins of some of these things. They didn't depict the origins of some of these cults correctly. I would take a second look and a third and a fourth and a 10th and a 20th look at whom any of you are speaking to over there. I would take a very, very hard look at who, when he hears this as well, whom are you speaking to? You're all right with Levick. You're all right with with some of the Force people, but some of them can be a bit crotchety over there too. No insult to the Force people, wonderful, wonderful people. But even they would agree not all tribes are made alike. The wizards that are over there, then like Dershinian and a few of the others, I would take a hard 20th, 100th look at what you were and whom you are speaking to. Magic is everywhere in the old motherland there, from Ireland to Scotland to England, Iceland, and the Scandinavian countries. Please take a hard look at what's over there. This is what I have to say on that subject.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. So, again, for this particular episode, any final words that you'd like to say?
It seems more of a finality or finality to me, and I'm not final in any of my rants. They keep going and going until people are sick of me and they're never sick of me. So, even my band is going on with a new lead singer. Like I said that one time, the one, the only, but I actually like how they're going. So, if they ever hear this, just know that there's a lot of love being sent their direction. So, and to all the people that of whom speak to me as well in their prayers, even though I'm not into worship of any kind. I do appreciate the sentiment. So I will leave you in peace. Just know George Orwell might actually talk to you in the future. I've actually kind of primed him so that he has to come out of his slumber a little bit.
Okay.
Just know if he does, if he catches you at a wrong moment, I'm sorry, but he rarely comes out of the closet. And I do mean that in the truest sense, by the way. So, gotcha, George. So, you can come and retort that at some point. Well, we do tend to throw pranks at each other in the spirit as well. So now I will leave you in peace. Thank you and goodbye. All right. If anybody was more flaming than Isaac, that's that man. No. Yeah. Trust me, he toned it back quite a bit. If you, he'd be like "Da-da-da," like that. So, and him wearing the whole Evil Knievel WWE getup that he's wearing there with the fringe and whatever that is, and yeah, okay. But Isaac goes, I do believe they call it gay. Okay, but you would know. But anyway, okay, he always finds it funny when Freddy interacts because they just roast each other here. So anyway, Joanna, do you have anything else to add to this?
No,
All
hope
right.
everyone enjoyed it.
Okay, I will now read the last affirmation and blessing. And okay, this was another Sean Connery one. He was not one that really wanted to talk. His were always short, sweet, and to the point. It was like in life. He had a sign on his home, from what I understand. If you don't have a good reason for knocking on this door, ringing this bell, don't bother, or something to that effect. If somebody can get me the actual wording of that, please do. But he was famous for basically saying, telling people to F off. So, from what I understand. So this says, to those that seek approval as well as redemption from any outside sources, know that this is when you truly have lost your way. Channeling of writer, actor, and director Sean Connery. So this is where I now close this circle within true benevolence and no conflicting agendas as of this moment in time. So thank you, everybody. Bye bye now.